On this episode of the iPhoneography podcast, Greg and me talk about the Samsung brouhaha, and really, is there anything really to it? And going over our recent photos.
It's Monday, March 13th, 2023, and this is the iPhoneography podcast. I'm Greg McMillan, joined by my good friend and co-host, Dave Bodner. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Greg, how's it going tonight?
It's going not too bad. As you'll see later, we had a few snowflakes fall, but it's nothing too bad. It's still it's not far below zero, so it's very tolerable. How about you? Have you been getting any more snow lately? Or
we had a few snowflakes. Not enough. Even some places had a little dusting on the grass. That's it. That is literally it.
That's about all we got, but we still have some snow on the ground.
Let's say you still have snow on the ground. We don't have, we're around a quarter of what we normally are.
Oh, yeah.
Snow-wise. So I know some places like you look at California, the mountains of California, where they literally have, houses are buried.
Wow.
15, 20 feet of snow.
Is it that bad?
Yeah. Yeah. The high mountains. They are getting slammed up there.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that bad. I knew they were getting snow, but.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like northern New England states, Maine, they're getting slammed. Some places, not necessarily Boston, but up there, they're getting, but it's just not coming down here this year. And I don't want to say it's over, because last year at this time we got almost a foot of snow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But the chances of a heavy snow mid-March and later is pretty slight.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's about the same for us too. I mean, this is almost the middle of March, so I mean, another couple of weeks I can get my snow tires off. I mean, it'd be pretty safe by then, mind you. It never fails. Just about every year I do that. I get my snow tires off, put my summer tires on, and we get a little more snow. But it's never been enough to hinder the driving or anything. So,
but and of course, as everyone around here, or at least around Pittsburgh, remembers, it was 30 years ago, around this time, the blizzard of '93 hit.
Oh yeah,
and we had 2 feet of snow in one day. On St. Patrick's Day.
You know what?
During the parade.
I think we got a pile of snow right about that time too.
It was like
it was around 1990 or early 90s. So we probably got a good dumping of it then too.
Yeah. The parade didn't stop here.
No.
Nope, didn't stop the parade. It was in the middle of a blizzard. I mean, officially not a blizzard. I put it that way, but
it was sent me pictures of that one time.
Yep. Yeah, it was. It's the 30-year anniversary of it, so people are like, "Hey, it looks nice now, but
we're
not out of it yet."
Yeah,
end of March, then we'll talk.
Yeah. Well, speaking of not out of it yet,
I'm sorry. What I'm saying, that also means that, and I know Matt Hoffman's not happy with the winter he's had, because it's hard to get good snow pictures when there's no snow on the ground for more than a day or two.
Yeah, well, I mean, he likes to go snowshoeing and stuff like that too, right?
He's and him being in Ohio, he should be getting a lot of snow, having lake effect snow, and he's worse off than he's same position as I am. He's like, and everything looks twiggy.
Yeah,
even though now we're starting to have green stuff come up.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. We're not quite there yet. That doesn't usually happen here till sometime in April or so.
Okay.
Of course, there's always that long running joke about winters in Canada. It stops in the first week of July and starts up again in the third week of July. But we are going to have a little discussion about things not really related to iPhone photography, but I think we could probably drag that into the equation somehow. There's been a lot of buzz in the last day or two about Samsung and the S23 Ultra And I mean, it actually stems back to the S22, as far as back as the S20, I believe, about the moonshots. And when I first heard about this, the first thing I thought of was how relieved you must be to know that they're not authentic moonshots coming out of that zoom camera that they've got. Because I know that's your biggest gripe with the iPhone.
Right. Right.
So,
Right. And literally, it's kind. You're right. I mean, it's now. Yes, and we'll bring the iPhone into it, where this is, I think, this isn't the gotcha that was Huawei a couple years
right.
ago, which literally was, hey, I have a ping pong ball, and that now all of a sudden is the moon because they just did a
Yeah.
replacement.
Yeah, because it's a
But
white circle.
yeah, but I think this will affect all. I don't even want to say smartphone photography, all photography going forward, because I can see the DSLR makers using AI to, sharpen their image and to do things where it's not, you may have a 100% manual mode, go
Hmm.
on your top and hit 100 or whatever menu system you have in like your Canon, your Fuji, your Sony, whatever, Nikon, whatever. You can say, I want 100% manual. I don't want you to touch this.
Hmm.
Only in your professional level. I can see them on their prosumer or more entry level side, just like with Apple and Samsung. It's hard to turn the AI off. You know, it's
Yeah.
hard to turn the computer massaging they do off.
Well, I mean, there's that happens with the JPEGs, right? They do,
Right.
sharpening and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But
Or
most,
Pro Raw, or
yeah.
even Pro Raw, it does it.
But as far as DSLRs go, I think most people who do that at any kind of a serious level, they're shooting raw. So I think that's going to escape that equation altogether. But um, when it comes to smartphones, I mean, everybody knows by now that there's a massive amount of computational stuff that goes
Hmm.
on, and uh, with the Samsung, like you said, with Huawei, they were blatantly cheating by putting an
Yeah.
overlay of the moon on the image. Because if you took a picture of, like you said, a ping pong ball, or you could have a plate leaning up against the wall. If it was a white plate, they would put the overlay of the moon on it, and it was completely ridiculous. But what Samsung's doing is, okay, so Shane Mawson put a video out about it,
Hmm.
and he did not, he said he has his opinions. He did not disclose what they were, which is fine. But
Yeah.
he said, if anybody has any thoughts on this, put it in the comments. So I started reading the comments, and sure enough, um, there's the old argument about, oh, the Apple fanboys are going to jump all over this and all this stuff. So I made a comment, and I started my comment with, look, first of all, let's enough of this fanboy nonsense. People are passionate about their phones. I get it. But let's leave that alone for now. And then I addressed what my thoughts were. And what my thoughts were like, okay, so Samsung's doing a lot of enhancing, detail enhancement. They're not doing an overlay of any sort. They're just enhancing what they have, because they've got algorithms and AI and all that stuff. They know what the moon looks like. They know what the moon looks like in all its phases. It never changes from our point of view. So like the moon
Hmm.
isn't rotating around it like on an axis as it rotates around the Earth.
Right.
It's got the same look all the time
Hmm.
from wherever you are in the world. It'll look different to people in Australia than it will for us because of the angle, right? And other than that, like all they're doing is they're enhancing the image. That's the shortest story of it all.
Right.
So in this comment thread, I stated that, is this really any different than what Apple did with portrait mode? Because in portrait mode, they're taking, they're creating a depth of field. They're creating a bokeh not a bokeh, a bokeh in the background. And now with the 14s, they can do it in the foreground, but they're creating a I don't like to use the word fake, but that's almost what it is. It's a fake bokeh in the background.
Yeah.
And because they're blurring it. Samsung's just going the other way with this, and they're just sharpening. They're just adding detail. And I when after I thought about it, like I'm totally okay with what Samsung's doing here because it's just they're just enhancing the moon. They're just enhancing it. You've seen we've all seen these spy movies or thriller movies where they get a picture up on the screen and they say, "Okay, enhance," and then everything just sharpens right up. Well, I mean, this isn't quite like that, but I mean, it's
and you really can't do that with photos either.
no.
If the data isn't there, you can't. Now, here's my only issue with it. It's not really taking your data that you're pulling out from the image that's going into your phone and enhancing your data. It's bringing, and I would say this, if Samsung was more, and I may have missed, during because I don't pay as close attention to the details of the Samsung announcements as I do the Apple, because I don't have a Samsung phone. And also, I don't necessarily want to get out of the Apple ecosystem. Just like people who use Android don't want to get out of the Android ecosystem. It's a pain. It's a lock-in, unfortunately. But they may have mentioned this, but they're saying we're taking your image and then we're going to use outside data on top of your information to enhance your information and then show the image. Now, as long as they were clear with that, I'm fine. But if it was your phone with its optics and our internal system can produce these images, no, it can't.
Yeah, when they did the announcement, I don't know if they were that explicit with the capabilities of the camera, other than to say that you can shoot the moon.
Look what
whatever.
We can do. Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
The only not the only part, but like they're using data from your image to
that's kind of a base.
If it's a blood moon, they're going to make the moon red.
Right.
If it's a half moon, they're going to make the moon half. So they are using some of the data, right? But they're not like it's not like they could take all the craters off the moon and sharpen them up. That's not what they're doing. And I don't think they're claiming that they are. I think they're just not saying that they aren't.
Right. Well, that's the thing.
Right?
And as one person said, and this would be an interesting thing if it would happen. Let's say something hits the moon on the near side. Okay. Where we would see it. And then someone takes a picture of it with the Samsung. Would that crater be there? Or would it not recognize there should be a crater there? And say, oh, that's not supposed to be there because we know what the face of the moon looks like. So therefore, we're going to smooth it out because that must be some kind of data issue.
I'm willing to bet they're paying attention to what happens with the moon in that regard. And if something did hit the moon and cause a new crater, they would probably write it into the algorithm.
That would have to require new downloads to the phone, though.
And it would probably happen while you're sleeping.
Right, but they would have to run their... But how long did it take them to get because they said there's like 29 images or 29 scenes that they enhance. So they went out of their way to say, okay, moon, people are going to take pictures of the moon. Great. Sky. Okay, here's the sky. We're going to train the algorithm on what a sky looks like. And if the sky is blue, we're going to enhance the blueness of the sky. Here's grass. We're going to deepen the green of the grass to make it more vibrant. Not
Mm-hmm.
realistic, more may give it punch. Here's a plate of food. We're going to recognize it's food. Therefore, we're going to enhance do this with the food to make the image better. But again, you're not getting the image that is there. You're not getting what your eye's seeing. You're getting what the people who program the AI want the image to come out looking like. Now, the
Yeah.
nice thing is you can turn that off.
Yes.
That is the one advantage over, because if you say you wanted, let's say you want to use your iPhone and say, you know what, I don't like Deep Fusion. You can't do that with the built-in app. If you want a true raw image, because ProRAW is not raw, we all know that. ProRAW is raw with Apple Magic. You're gonna have to get a third-party app if you want
Yeah.
it pure raw that you can, do whatever, you know, Lightroom manipulation with. And I would kind of like, and I know a few people said it. It's not my, or it's not. I'm stealing this from multiple people, so I can't really attribute anyone. It
Mm-hmm.
would be nice if Apple said, you go into settings, you click this, your camera will go into expert mode,
Yeah.
and then you will
Yeah, it
have
would
the
be.
ability to do all these things. But we know 95% of the people want to pick up their phone, take a shot, and it turns out nice.
Yeah.
It may not be a work of art, but it's going to be a really, really good picture without doing a lot of work on your part. So that's
Yeah.
our default. But if you want to do it, we will give you expert mode, kind of like the calculator on the iPhone. You hold
Yeah.
it portrait mode, you get basically a 10-button calculator. As basic as it's been around for 40 years. You turn it sideways, you get a scientific calculator,
Yeah.
where a majority of people have no idea what those buttons are and would never use them.
Yeah, really.
But if you're, someone working, if you're a math student, engineer, you need all those buttons and probably a whole lot more other buttons.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do is say, okay, we have, basic mode, expert mode. Do the same thing with the camera. Give me an expert mode, but make it put it in settings. So make it harder to accidentally turn on.
Yeah.
And that way you're not messing up what the average person wants to do. But I still would love some of the basic stuff the Samsung camera does. First of all, periscope zoom. That would help out a lot. The fact that Samsung can go 10x optical versus only 3, that makes a big difference. That
Mm-hmm.
means digitally they can do 100, where the iPhone peters out, 15 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So yeah, that would just help. But the fact that when you get so close, it says, oh, I'm automatically going to work on the contrast, the brightness, that would just help. Because right now, if I want to take a moon picture, I break out Reflex app because I can manually adjust all that before I take a picture.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
And in the iPhone, you used to be able to turn off scene detection, which is the feature that you can turn off on the
yep.
Samsung. But it disappeared. I'm not sure which version of iOS it disappeared in,
Mm-hmm.
14 or 15. But it's been a major pain not being able to turn that off. Now, I just looked at the settings on my 14 Pro Max compared to my 10s Max, and the 14 Pro Max, there's nothing like that you can turn off. The 10s Max, there is a way to turn off Smart HDR, but that's it. There's no scene detection in the settings, in the camera settings. Um, my 10s Max, it's on the latest beta, so it's on 16.4 point something. And but it's being able to turn off scene detection would be a nice thing, because I think that might I'm not sure if deep fusion is actually part of the scene detection or not, but it would just give you a little more control, like, be able to expect a little more out of the camera. You know what you're going to get with scene detection. I mean, it's going to do what it thinks is best. But as far as the Samsung thing goes, um, it's AI, it's detail enhancement. It's not what you see is what you get. In a video or in an article that I'm going to put in the show notes that is by a guy who's a Samsung um, follower. I don't want to say fanboy, but he is to Samsung what we are to iPhones. Like
Okay.
we follow the iPhone stuff. We talk about it, all this stuff. Well, this guy writes about Samsung, and there was a screen recording of a video, or maybe a video of the screen of somebody taking a picture of the moon. They zoom right in, and it's not very clear. Zoomed right in, it's not very clear. The shutter gets pressed, and if you look at the very bottom of the screen, you can see the blurred moon, but these dots are going around it because it's processing. When it's finished processing, bang, it goes real sharp. So I mean, I don't think it's fair for everyone to um, just jump on the bandwagon and say that Samsung's cheating or, producing fake photos. Pretty much all photos taken in a smartphone camera nowadays are so digitally enhanced. I mean, the iPhone takes like it starts shooting photos as soon as you open the camera app. It only saves them when you hit the shutter button. Like it keeps everything in a buffer. Once you take the shot, it throws everything else away. So I mean, and it takes like there's 13 or 14 different parts to an iPhone photo file. And I'm talking like JPEG or hike. I'm not talking the RAWs. But I mean, and so there's so much computation going on, and that's all that Samsung is doing, in my opinion. Is just they're just doing computational stuff to give you a good moonshot. Yeah. And if you want a really good true shot of the moon, really the only way you're going to get it with a phone is to attach it to a telescope, a good telescope, and then you're going to have a good true shot of the moon.
Yeah,
or as true as you can get physics.
With you literally physics. We're going back to Isaac Newton because it was he worked on the optical laws of optics. You can't beat physics. You can't beat a good true optical zoom. I mean, it's that simple. Yeah. Now, my question is, will this make people dig into the settings for Samsung? And do they, let's say, other than moon pics, is everything else generic, like food, scenery, landscape?
Well, or if you turn off scene detection,
right?
I think that turns off the detection for all those things.
But I mean, okay, so this is like
because in the settings
it
says,
to me the moon is an object, though. Okay, the other things are like sky, grass, clouds. Those are generic concepts. The moon is thing. Do they have things like Eiffel Tower, Big Ben in London, the Taj Mahal? I don't think they do. I think the moon's the only object they have. But
yeah, without having a phone, it's hard to say, right?
Yeah, but I mean, how long till we get someone could do that and say, we have taken high resolution images from multiple angles of these world images, of these very important world sites that we know people are going to take pictures of. Therefore, you take a picture of the object. We know where you're orientated from. We can take your photo. We can compare it to our master photo. not taken with our camera, but with taken a very high resolution, and then we'll correct what you have.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a little blurry let's say you go to London, you take a picture of Big Ben. Okay. You're like, oh, that's good. It's zoomed out, though. It's a little blurry. It's a little this. And they're like, we know what it should look like. We're now going to enhance your image because we'll compare and then we'll fix your image a little bit here.
Yeah.
The question is that your image?
I could see the Google Pixel doing that.
Yeah.
Because that's a Google phone. With the Samsung, I don't know how much influence Google has on their operating system. I know it's an Android phone,
right,
but Samsung's got their
Android
own
doubles
stuff
everything, though. But Samsung doubles everything.
Yeah.
So if you have a built-in thing with Android, you have an exact copy of that Samsung made.
Yeah. So I mean, to answer that question, I'd have to say I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean,
like I say,
that is the next step, though. That is the next step of saying we fixed an object, not a general concept. We can fix this object, moon, because we know people are going to take pictures of the moon. Next step, well, since we can do it with the moon, we can start figuring out other objects and use AI to fix your image because we know what it should look like. Now, I don't think it happens now, but to me, that's kind of because I saw in one article, someone did I forget what it was because I was looked up multiple articles. Someone went to a concert and did a zoom in at like 100x, because you're way out there, and you zoom in at 100x, it is not that crystal clear zoom moon image you get. It's good, don't get me wrong, it's impressive, especially for a cell phone camera, but it has that pixelated. You can tell the person's face, you can even tell who it is, but it's like someone's wearing like way heavy makeup.
Yeah.
Okay, but again, very impressive. And they did it in video too. Very impressive. But if you think, oh, I can zoom into the moon and get this ultra clear, sharp image, and you zoom in on something that's not the moon, and then your image is good, but it doesn't match what you're getting from the moon, is Samsung now going to say, well, we got to fix this now?
Yeah. I think when it comes to like your example of the Eiffel Tower or Big Ben, I think that would be a way more difficult to do an enhancement like that on, because with the moon, like I said, it's only one view, right?
Yeah, we're totally locked to the moon.
People could be anywhere around those structures, and I mean that would be a lot of AI that they would have to do to be able to, implement that sort of enhancement in those things, right? So,
it would be like making a 3D model. It would be like making basically you're making a 3D model of those structures, which some places may not want to have 3D models of famous buildings for security reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
But look at Google Earth or Google Maps even. They have 3D buildings.
Yeah, Apple does too.
Yeah, and those are photos. Those are photos that are 3D buildings. So, like I said, I can see that being the next. But my big thing is, as long as people understand that image you're getting is not 100% your image, because it isn't.
Yeah,
it isn't 100. You're using outside data to enhance your image.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're you're not necessarily replacing bits of the photo, but it isn't. I took a photo, I went into the editing suite, I tweaked some things around, or I took a photo and it layered 15 different shots together and it did its computational thing of my data that I took. It's more of I took an image, it took some outside data to fix what it couldn't do optically in the camera. And then it came out, because that's what you heard. Yeah,
I think the 90-90 rule applies to this too.
Yeah,
it's going to be okay for 90% of the people, 90% of the time.
Yep.
Those who are those who are purists or serious photographers who aren't going to be happy with that sort of an image, they're the ones that are going to want to put it on a tripod, hook it up to a telescope
Hmm.
or whatever, and get an actual photo of the moon.
Yeah.
I think that's how it's going to play out.
Hmm.
Um, so, you know, to summarize my thoughts on it, like I said before, I think I'm okay with it because it's it's a phone. It's a phone camera.
Hmm.
And the moon is, I don't even know how far away from Earth, but you're not going to get um, you're not going to get a perfect picture of the moon with a phone, not any phone.
No.
And up until this came out, we were all thinking that Samsung was doing wonderful things with their camera system.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, I mean, they're still wonderful things, but they're not what we thought. And I just hope Samsung comes out with some kind of a statement or something about this to address how they're doing it. I mean, it's known how they're doing it, but I, th- I think Samsung maybe needs to come out with, just a web page or something to say, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
I mean, with Apple, when portrait mode came out, if you wondered how it was working, all you had to do was go to the WWDC videos from the year of the iPhone 7 and 7
Hmm.
Plus, where they talked about how it made that portrait mode image.
Hmm.
Um, it's no secret as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if people want to know bad enough, they'll find out.
Yeah.
And I think the same goes with this. If like after Shane's video, I thought, okay, I'm going to do a search and just to see what I could find. And sure enough, it was like the second or third link on my results page to this guy's. I think it was Sammy something. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of a short form for Samsung or whatever.
Hmm.
I mean, he writes about Samsung stuff, and his article was there, and then of course from that article he linked to another article where it went way more in depth to think about how it works or whatever. I forget how it all went now, but um, there's been so many people coming out with stuff about this today alone. So, but anyway, you know that's my final thoughts on it. Is I'm okay with it. It's what they're doing to give you a good image of the moon.
Hmm.
If you don't like it, don't use it. That's all
Yeah.
I could say.
Yeah.
So,
Agree.
what are your final
It,
thoughts on it
yeah.
before we move
I
on?
don't. I don't. I don't think it's the gotcha that a lot of people think it is. It
Right.
really isn't. Um, it is AI. I just again, and this is again me seeing synopsis of what Samsung could have, not reading the details or getting into the details or
Hmm.
listening to the 2 hour um, Samsung keynote where they talked about it. If they
Yeah.
would have said, "We take your photo, we take known information, and we use that to enhance your photo," you know.
Hmm.
But and maybe this isn't Samsung coming out, but it's people talking about the Samsung phone saying, "Oh my God, you can take a picture of the moon and it will come out like this way because of the camera,
Hmm.
not
And
because
you know
of what
what?
happened." So I think that and I'm not equating this at all. Okay, so this is different level. But there's an old saying that says it's the cover up stupid. Most of the time, people don't get into trouble for what they do. It's
Hmm.
trying to hide the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. And you know what? In all honesty, and just I'm always about being fair.
Yeah.
To be fair to Samsung, Apple does the same bloody
Oh yeah.
thing in their
Yeah.
keynotes. They don't tell you how um, this works or that works. They just
Hmm.
say, "Oh, you know, this could be done and that can be done." And I mean, it's marketing, right? It all
Hmm.
comes down to marketing, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And uh, I'm not. I'm not bashing Samsung over this
Oh
at
no,
all because
no.
I think that would be unfair. And
Oh, and also, Greg, when you mentioned about when you saw Shane, but first of all, love Shane's video, the fact how neutral it is, which is
yes,
something we're missing because people, we're talking about cell phones. We're not
hmm
talking life or death.
yeah, that's right.
Majority of people yelling on the internet have no financial stake unless you own Apple stock, which I don't.
I don't either.
I don't own Samsung stock.
No,
So I don't honestly, I don't know. But unless you have a financial stake in it, people are getting so heated about this.
yeah,
Calm down, people.
yeah,
Calm down.
yeah,
You know, and the same, like I said, when you started, said, I read the comments, and the first thought in my head is first rule of the internet. Well, okay, there's other rules, but let's say one of the
hmm
first rules of the internet: don't read the comments.
yeah, yeah,
Don't read the comments. And our listeners are great. We don't post stuff that have a lot of comments other than the Facebook group per se.
hmm
And they're always great in there. But I'm always afraid to read comments because no matter what you post, you will have a certain portion of the population, which are, I'm going to use the Pittsburgh term here, jagoffs.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And whether they're paid to be, or they like it, or they really believe it, or they're putting, I'm an Apple person and that's my personality. It
yeah, yeah,
happens, but it happens. It's everything.
hmm
Like I'm a wrestling fan. Okay. There's two big companies right now in wrestling, WWE and AEW. There
hmm
are people who are love WWE, hate AEW. There are people who love AEW and hate WWE.
yeah,
And it's almost on a religious level. And there's some people like, hey, I like wrestling. I like some of this. I like some of this. And people are like, no, you have to like one and hate the other.
yeah, yeah,
Why?
yeah. Yeah,
uh,
I can't be like that. Like
no,
I mean, yeah,
it's
I'm an
crazy.
Apple
It's
guy.
crazy.
I'm in the ecosystem like yourself, right? And when, but you know what? If somebody comes up to me and says, "I want to buy a new phone. What should I get?" I'm not going to tell them, "Go get an iPhone." I'm going to ask them a series of questions and figure out what's going to work best for them. If it's an Android, and I mean like not the flagships. If it turns out that it's going to
Oh,
be a $500 Android phone because that's what suits their pocketbook, then so be it. I'm not going to
yeah.
tell them to go and break themselves and
No.
go get an iPhone just because that's what I use.
Yeah.
I mean, I always like to figure out what's best for them and go from there.
Hmm.
So, well, that was it's been an interesting couple of days with this whole thing. So it'll be just as interesting to see how it all plays out.
Agreed.
I'm gonna have links in the show notes to Shane's video, Marquez Brown's video, or Marquez
Brownlee.
Brownlee's
Yep.
video, and these articles that we mentioned. All those links will be in the show notes if you want to check them out. Um, so now we were going to go through. We were going to go do a segment on something, but I think we're going to leave that for the next show. Um, so
And
stay.
boys and girls, that calls a teaser.
Yes. Yeah, we're not even going to say what it is. So I think what we'll do is because that was a pretty in-depth conversation about the
Yeah.
Samsung thing. So what we'll do now is we'll just jump right into our recent photos, and uh, I I don't know about you, Dave, but I have not been inspired in the last couple of months at all, just because of the weather. It's been winter, then stick season, and then we get winter back and stick season. And good grief, I just don't know. I don't know. I can't wait till spring when the flowers come out. Then I'll at least have something to take pictures of. But I did manage to get a few. But let's start with your first one. We'll go one about here.
Okay.
Um, and we'll start with your first one. And what it looks like to me is speaking of stick season.
Okay. Yeah. So this was done. I actually took this yesterday on a run.
Oh, and
And
before you get any
sorry.
further,
Yeah.
I got to remember to do this, folks. Look at your phone.
Oh,
You'll
yes.
see a picture of it on your phone. If you can't do that, if you're driving, whatever, um, it'll be on the website. You can go and have a look at them. They'll be there, but you'll be able to see what we're talking about. So, okay, sorry, Dave, carry on.
No, no, no problem. No problem. That is important because it's hard to do a photography podcast talking about photos when people can't see the photos as much as we try to describe them.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was taken on a run yesterday. Now talking about enhancing, I did throw this into Snapseed to
hmm
give it the border. The actually, you know what? I'm going to no, this was Snapseed for the border. I'm sorry. Sometimes I use Camera Plus too for the border and
Oh yeah,
some
yeah. They got some good ones too. Yeah.
yeah. No, this was Snapseed though, and this was on the run. This is actually not that far away from my house, or from yeah, it's a couple miles away from my house, but it's close to the little city of Oakmont. This is
hmm
literally a couple blocks off the main drag. And I just running in this little area, looked up, and you can see kind of where there's like a little. I don't want to call it a stream because it's not really a stream. It's kind of a runoff area down the
Right.
hill,
hmm
and it's coming kind of straight towards you. And the original picture, like we said, it didn't pick up a lot of the color. The colors were there, but they were really muted.
hmm
So I put it multiple things inside of Snapseed, and it really boosted kind of the blue sky, even though it was kind of overcast. So it did give a tint to the sky. The little red on the bushes, the little green here and there, the moss growing on the rocks down below, kind of how it
Yeah.
kind of meandering towards you there, and you have the bare trees there.
hmm
And with the kind of the old fashioned border with kind of the light leaks.
You know what it looks
Maybe
like? It looks like a scanned, an old photograph that's been scanned on a flatbed
Mhm.
scanner. That's what it looks like, and
Yeah,
gives it a ton of character. Like it's like an old photo.
yeah,
Even with the way you've colored it, it looks old.
yeah.
Um,
And that's
it
honestly for stick season because it's hard to just take, at least in my mind, it's hard for me just to take a photo and do just a little tweak here, a little tweak here, and make it interesting.
mhm.
Going, oh, that's an interesting kind of desolate type scene. And when I edit, I tend to think back to like 1970 photos or
Yeah,
1980 photos. And
yeah.
that's kind of, you're right, that's kind of the feel I was going for here. So I'm glad it turned
All
out that way.
all it's missing is the stain from a coffee cup. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But
Or the actual like the page being crinkled
yeah, yeah.
because
But
the virtual creases aren't quite the same as actually the creases you see in a real paper in a real
yeah,
photo.
yeah, that's true. So and now that looks like a little footbridge going across there. Is there a trail up there? Is that what
No,
that is?
I see what you're talking about, and I think that there's not a trail up there. So that's kind of either someone put it there or it's just a branch that just happened to go that way. I see what you're saying though. It's almost
Yeah.
perfectly level though.
Yeah, it almost looks like
But yeah,
a little
no,
bridge
that's
or something,
just yeah, yeah. It
but
just looks that way. I think the angle's making it look that way.
okay, yeah. Well, it's a really cool shot. And what I like about it too, and I look for this in landscape shots, is let's take this little whatever it is, let's just call it a branch. For the sake of argument here, because if it's not a footbridge, then it's got to be something natural. But
Mhm.
there's no hand of man in this image at all. There's no power lines. There's no buildings, not even peeking out from behind the horizon. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
No, it's really hard to
Yes,
see.
there
Upper
is.
right, there's something,
Yeah, there
but
is.
it's not that hard to see.
There's one little, okay, so
Yeah.
it's almost no hand of man. And if that wasn't there,
Yeah. And maybe the
it
concrete
would have
down
been,
below. The
yeah.
concrete down below.
Well, they look like rocks to me.
Well, no, below that though. You mean the big ones?
That's what I mean.
Oh,
They
okay.
still look like rocks to
Oh,
me.
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that they were concrete,
Yeah.
but no, I mean it's other than that little bit of that building there, which I just saw at the last minute. It looks like there's no hand of man, and I think that's a really good challenge for people when they're doing landscape stuff. Try to get a picture with no power lines, no trails from the planes in the sky, no anything that could be made by man. Try to eliminate it from the image, and I think it'll make for a better landscape shot.
Mhm.
But I think for the amount of busyness that this image has, it's busy yet it's simple. It's just simply a looking up this runoff. There's no water that I could see coming down it, but it's really cool.
Oh,
And the coloring, I love it. Yeah,
oh,
it's really
thank you.
good. All right, so we'll jump to my first one.
Mhm.
Um, I took this one just out the back door, and I was out shoveling snow one time, like maybe 3 weeks before I took this. I took this like 2 days ago, and there's a ceramic frog, and this thing was in a different spot on the back deck, and when I was shoveling, I hit it and I knocked it over. I thought, oh, I don't want to break
Mm.
it. I put the darn thing in the garage, out of the way, under a little table or whatever, so that it wouldn't get damaged. And so, okay, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be there until spring. Well, as you can see, we still have snow in our backyard.
Mhm.
Um, there was a skiff of snow on the deck, and I looked out and I saw this stupid thing staring at me. And I thought, this is so creepy. It's like, ha ha ha, you can't get me or something. And I said to my wife, what is this thing doing out here? I said, it shouldn't be out till spring. Oh, I like it. So there it sits. It's looking right at the door. And it just, I don't know about you, Dave, but I just think it's creepy looking.
You see, I don't. I would go the opposite way. I think
Really?
it's almost like, hi, I'm out here, still out here. Yes, still in the cold. In fact, I
Hello,
think
yes, this is
what would
me.
make it perfect would be putting a scarf around its neck.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to tell her that.
You
I'll
know,
have to suggest that to
because I
her, and
don't know
she'll
if you
probably
can
do
put a
that.
hat. I don't think you put a tassel cap on it, but
No, it
putting a
would
little
cover his
scarf,
eyes.
yeah. But putting like a scarf around the neck, kind of like a snowman has a scarf.
Yeah. So yeah. So when I took it, it was it almost looks like it's a little hazy, but it's because it's going through like a window in the back door,
Oh,
which I
okay,
think is like a double
gotcha.
pane of glass or something.
Mm,
So
okay,
I used the clarify um tool in Darkroom to try to get it as as punchy as I could, um
you
but
want to be
yeah,
careful
that's
about not overdoing it, which is always
yeah,
the
yeah. I didn't want it to look fake or anything.
right, right, right.
So
And
yeah, so
honestly,
that's
having a little bit of grain or a little bit of haze makes it look like it's outdoors.
yeah. You know what? I should have added grain to it.
Mm.
That would have been a good thing. Maybe I'll do that before I post it anywhere. But yeah, that's our little ceramic frog. I don't even know if it has a name. I just call him creepy. uh okay, so your second one I have as the lookout,
hmm Yeah.
which is
So
pretty cool.
this, oh yeah, yeah, these things are neat. So, um, I decided to go for a walk one day. Ruth had a meeting, and it was on their side of town. It's not too far away from. Now it's officially Mount Washington. In the past, it was called Coal Hill.
Oh yeah.
So it's not really mountain like you would think
Hmm.
mountain. It's really a hill, but it overlooks downtown.
Right.
And they have these overlooks where you can go up there and get the view downtown. It's a great panoramic view. And from
And I
underneath,
saw a panel you took from there, and it was really cool.
yeah, yeah. And basically from up there, you can see all three rivers. You can see tens and tens and tens of miles
Yeah.
because you're up a lot higher than the rest of the downtown area.
So just for reference, Did you
Mhm.
use the three times camera on this?
For this one, yes.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that gives
I
you an
actually
idea of how far up it is.
right, right. No, this is around halfway up the hill.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so I decide to basically park on top of the hill, walk down the hill, walk halfway across one of the bridges. Unfortunately, it was windy and cold, and
Mm,
I needed just one extra layer of clothing to be comfortable. So instead of walking almost all the way downtown, I turned around the bridge and I walked back up.
right.
So this is around halfway up, but still, like you said, using the 3x there.
Hmm.
So, and like I said, it was, I did use I'm trying to remember the I did some editing in Lightroom Mobile,
Hmm.
and I also did some editing in PS Camera because that really brought out the underneath design of the structure.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
Which is
that is
really
some,
cool.
yeah, yeah, it's really nice the fact that it isn't just on a pedestal, but
Yeah.
it looks like a tree.
Yeah, yeah, that's neat.
So, and you can see just to the back and left, you can see one of the churches, which are basically
Hmm.
right on the edge there.
Yeah.
Now, there was a hint here. I use PS Camera,
Yeah. I
so
know where you're going.
this was a fake sky,
Yeah. Yeah.
100% fake sky, because it was just kind of gray overcast.
Hmm.
So there was no moon in the sky. It doesn't look fake because it's not overly clear, and the moon sometimes comes out.
Well, it has that look to it, like you used uh like a 500 millimeter lens
Hmm.
where the moon really comes in big, and if there's something like this in the image that's far away from you, you'll bring it in, but like it's all a matter of like how the image gets compressed, right?
Hmm.
Uh it's hard to explain, but that's what it looks like, and it doesn't look out of place at all. I mean, we know full well that you'll never get a moon that big with an iPhone camera,
Right.
but it looks very convincing. Like it doesn't look out of place at all. Like, I mean, sure, there's no sun shining on the platform, but who's to say it's not cloudy covering that
Right.
part, whereas the moon is up above the clouds way out in space, and
Hmm.
it could be catching some sunlight, um, to make it visible
Right.
at that time of
Plus,
day.
I did make it a little on the warm side
Yeah, yeah.
versus a cooler picture, so I did warm it up a bit there.
Well, it looks very convincing.
Oh,
It
thank you.
does. It looks very convincing, and I like that you brought the detail out in the bottom of the platform, because
Yeah.
I would have hate to have missed that, because that does look so cool. Um, yeah, it's a, as Shane would say, it's a real ripper image. Yeah, and I like too that the fact that there's people there to give you the
Yeah.
sense of scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
that's
that's one of the reasons why as I'm walking up, I saw them up there, and I thought, okay, that would be a good picture with them up there because
yeah.
you can tell it's a family just sitting around looking at the skyline
Hmm.
and just kind of looking what's there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really cool. And in the summertime, you probably wouldn't see the underside of that thing because of those all that shrubbery would have leaves on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah,
wouldn't be as visible. Yeah.
yeah. So good thing you got it during stick season. All right. So my second one is well, like I said earlier, in the opening, that we had a bit of snow, and I thought, oh, I've been wanting to get out and take pictures of something, anything. So what do I do? These big snowflakes are falling. I go in, I grab the macro lenses, and I tried the reflex long range macro first, but I just couldn't get close enough to the snowflakes. So I grabbed the
Mm.
Struman Optics one where it has that focus range on it, and I can get really close. And I think it may have been fogging up a little bit because these are
Mm.
not as crystal clear as I had hoped. But it was either the iPhone camera underneath the lens, or it was the lens itself that was maybe fogging up a little bit. But anyway, because I grabbed the lens out of the house and went right outside with it, so I should have maybe let it sit for a bit and get it acclimated to the temperatures. But anyway, I was in a hurry. I wanted to get them taking some pictures. So this is on uh, a purple sand cherry tree that we have in the backyard, and in the bottom left corner, you can see part of a branch with a bit of lichen growing on it, and in the lower right, that's all lichen as well. On like the branch comes down and joins another one and goes back up, and so that's lichen growing on the other branch, and then of course just the snowflakes themselves, and pretty much all I
Oh,
did
okay.
to try to get the snowflakes in focus was I turned on focus peaking, and I just moved the phone back and forth a little bit to as soon as I saw the focus peaking on the snowflakes, I snapped the shutter, and there it is. So very tricky things to photograph. I know my friend Don
Mm,
Komarechka, who
mm,
does these snowflakes with his DSLR. He'll take, believe it or not, he'll take a snowflake like that. He lets it fall on a black mitt that his grandmother gave him when he was a kid. And so if he can isolate one, he'll take about anywhere from 100 to 200 shots with his Canon, just moving back and forth, and then he'll use the focus stacking and all that stuff to get the whole thing sharp.
mm.
But with the iPhone, I mean, I probably could have done something like that, but I don't know how well it would have turned out.
Yeah,
Um,
I
but
mean, just seeing the details and seeing where you can see it's already starting to melt.
yeah, they were melting
And
fast.
yeah, and you can see because you don't have the symmetrical features on
Hmm.
some of the very outside. You can see it's not as sharp. It's
Yeah.
flattening out. It's
Hmm.
losing is some of the like the main branch starting to narrow and taper, not towards the end but towards the middle, so you can see the whole melting pattern going on.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Don says the optimum temperature for doing snowflakes is about -10 Celsius. So that would be, I'm not sure what that would be in Fahrenheit, but um, it's it's fairly cold. So, but it was only like -2, so it was like 30 degrees Fahrenheit when I did this. And like I said, they were melting pretty quick. So, but it was fun just to get back out there and just shoot something that was kind of cool. I got a bunch of different pictures of these snowflakes, and even some on the edge of the um what do you call it, the tin roof on my shed, which is like corrugated, and
okay, yes,
there was
yes.
little icicles hanging down,
Hmm.
and if I wasn't uh if I wasn't so pressed for time, I would have tried to get one of the icicles maybe with the drip falling off it, but
Mm,
it's so hard to do when you're doing macro. But
yeah.
anyway,
Oh,
no, that's
and I did look real quick. It's 14 degrees Fahrenheit.
okay. So yeah, yeah. So it wasn't quite that cold.
Yeah,
If it was, then think I would have got maybe some better, crisper shots. But
and been
um,
a lot more uncomfortable.
yeah, and I should have waited about 5 minutes before I started shooting and let the lens get used
Been
to
in
the
the temperature. Yeah,
temperature. So
yeah.
you know, there's another tip for anybody that's using these add-on lenses is let them get acclimated
Hmm.
or climatized or whatever you want to call it to the temperatures. So that's my snowflakes.
Okay.
And
Well,
for your third one, oh
before
yeah,
we
go
go to
ahead.
my third one, I
Mhm.
just sent you another photo.
Okay.
And this is I'm trying to remember if this is the point 0.5 or just the regular the regular norm. I should be able to figure this out. 0.77 millimeter, 2.8.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So, okay. But it was basically, it's a further away shot of the same platform.
Okay. Yep.
A little different angle, a little further away angle, a little,
Hmm.
not so far up the hill.
Right. Yeah.
But just so it gets a nice perspective of, because the shot I'm taking is like halfway up the hill.
Yeah, yeah.
So you get a feeling for how much more of an overhang this thing actually is.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And if you have any issues with vertigo or heights, it can throw you off.
Yeah. It's kind of like we have what we call the lookout tower um, in town here, and it's kind of like about that high
Hmm.
off the ground. Um, Maybe I'll try to get a picture of that sometime and use that for this segment. But it's yeah, it's kind of something like that. But it 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 has a platform that you walk to the structure, and then you go up this spiral staircase,
Mm.
and then to the lookout platform, and
I want to say
it's
you did use that once before because it does sound familiar.
I used the staircase
Okay.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use that as one of
Okay.
the pictures, but I don't know if I've actually shown the whole lookout tower. So I'll have to do that one of these days
Okay.
and make sure it's a recent photo. I won't post something that I took
Oh,
before.
right.
So,
Right.
but yeah. So I mean, I'll put this on the screen for people to see
Okay.
while we've been talking about it, and just to give people a sense of scale and what you were talking about there. So this road goes uphill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So yeah. So that's McCardle Roadway, and it goes halfway up. Well, it basically it goes up the front of Mount Washington.
Oh yeah.
There's other ways around it.
Hmm.
So there are ways that you can, um, in the back or kind of on the side that are windy, twisty roads. But this thing kind of is like, well, you're at the top of the hill here. You want to get to the bottom of the hill, straight line, straight down,
Yeah, yeah.
great incline down.
Oh yeah.
So now the third photo
Yeah.
was, and this just reopened the day after I walked this. So this was the test run of the Mon Incline. Um, for some people, you may be familiar with it being called a funicular.
Oh yeah.
So this takes you basically from the top to the bottom, and it's a little bit of touristy, if you will.
Hmm.
But people do use it to go to work.
Oh really?
Yeah, because if you live on top of Mount Washington or near Mount Washington, instead of taking a bus all the way down the hill,
Oh
a lot of
yeah.
times it's easier just to get on the incline, take the
Yep.
incline down, and then if it's a nice day, walk into downtown, and the subway goes real close to there.
Yeah. And you
So
posted a picture from inside this thing before, did you not?
I did, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I'm trying to remember we have two inclines. We have the Duquesne and Mon, and I'm trying to I think it was the Duquesne incline I took before,
Right.
which is like a mile away. So, and like I said, they're both old.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it was originally built in, let me see here, 1870.
Oh wow.
So now things have been replaced, rebuilt, redone.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's basically works like an elevator.
Yeah.
So
Oh
you
yeah.
actually you have one car on each side of the track. You have
Hmm.
a giant steel cable which connects the two, if you will.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The weight balances out, and there's a giant, I mean, giant wheel on top, which pulls the rope as one goes up, one goes down.
Oh, okay.
And it goes right over the roadway. So, and the like I said, definitely the roadway is a much newer build than the incline.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can see how steep that is, how steep that incline is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, and they just upgraded the light. So before it was just one color, now it's LED multicolor. Like I said, they did some upgrade, some painting to give it a color upgrade there. And the kind of wild thing is there used to be like six of these or eight of these in the city
Oh really?
because it was the easiest way to go up and down hills.
Hmm. Yeah.
Especially think about before cars. These things
Oh
were built in
yeah.
the 1880s.
Yeah.
So if you
So
wanted to go from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill, you either walked the stairs or if you had money, you took the incline.
Yeah. So those are lights that go all the way down the side of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
The
does
things
it
that are kind
operate?
of purple right now.
It's not 24/7. This thing, is it?
Not 24/7. You know what? Let me see if I'm going to see if I can find. Here we go. Hours. It is 5:30 in the morning till 12:45 in the morning.
Oh, really? That late?
Yep, and Sundays and holidays it's 8:45 in the morning to midnight.
Okay. Well, that'd be cool going down that at night then. I
Oh yeah,
mean, when
yeah.
you getting a good view of the city and whatnot.
Oh yeah, it's great. It is
Yeah.
absolutely great. And there's an overlook on top. You can go up there and get a nice view. Um, and round trip it's $3.50.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, you gotta remember though, it is still it's part of the transit structure. So this isn't just
Hmm.
touristy. This is, oh, I got to go to work.
Yeah,
I
this is
hop on the
commuting.
incline.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is people commuting, so it can't be that expensive.
So
It's a
would it be could you put that in with say a bus pass or would that be included?
Mhm. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah. Well, this one, let me just double check here because I know with both of these, yeah, this one's actually run by, I believe, the Port Authority. Yeah, this one's owned. This one's actually run by the Port Authority. So this is run by the Pittsburgh Bus
Oh yeah.
Authority. So if
Well,
you
that's
have
cool.
a bus pass, they call them Connect cards, where you can
Yeah.
load up money on it. You can just boop it.
Hmm.
You use it here. The other one, the Duquesne Incline's actually run by a not-for-profit organization,
Oh yeah.
so that's separate.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just run like the subway or the bus line, same group.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And like I said, it's pretty steep too. Let me see.
Yeah,
Hold
it's
on.
almost it's no, it's not quite 45 degrees, but it's about
35
30.
degrees.
I was gonna
35
say about
degrees. Yep.
36 degrees. Yeah,
Yep.
35
Yep.
degrees.
35 degrees, 600 feet long. And it goes up 370 feet.
Wow. Sure beats walking.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you look at really old pictures of Pittsburgh from the early 1900s, late 1800s, there were a flight of stairs that went up the side of the hill.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that would be
And,
a
yeah, and back then the trees were pretty much gone. There were no trees because this was actually an area that was mined for coal.
oh yeah.
So it was real barren, but you saw these rickety wooden steps going up, you know, 300 feet elevation. Imagine walking
Hmm.
up a 30-story building
Yeah.
to get up there.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, it looks like an interesting ride. That'd be cool to take it at night, especially coming
Oh,
down where you
yeah.
can see the city and whatnot. And of course, in any big city, you got well, even in the small town I live in, we got graffiti.
Well, true. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's cool. Um, okay, so for my last one, I was on the way to work, and um, on a rare
Mm.
clear night, I stopped. I thought I better stop and get a picture of Jupiter and Venus. And I believe this is after they had already gone through the conjunction. So
Hmm.
they were starting to move apart now. And but I thought, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna grab a quick shot of it on my way to work. And I actually had to go a few blocks out of my way to get this. But I mean, in this small town, that's still not much. But
No, still.
um, yeah. And I just pulled the car over. This is this foreground is a big field, and then you've got the tree line, and then it just basically goes down the escarpment, I guess. Would it be the escarpment? I think it is. I think it is the escarpment because then like the Niagara escarpment, it runs right through our town here. Well, I should say city because it's technically a city, but it's a small city. And
Oh,
anyway, so it's like like a little cliff there that goes down to the lower part of the city. And This is a great place for, they put firework when the fireworks go off on Canada Day. Um, this is a place where a lot of people will sit because they got a nice view of them as they come up, above the trees and whatever. But no, I just took this random quick shot of the planets as they're shining so brightly in the
Hmm.
sky, and I'm not sure, but I think the two above that are part of Orion, but I'm not 100% sure.
Either Orion or Gemini,
Yeah, yeah,
possibly Gemini.
yeah, that could be. But this was, I think, only like a 3 second or
Oh
maybe a
wow.
5 second night mode shot, handheld. It was considerably bright because there's a pile of streetlights right behind me, and a bunch of houses along the street behind me. So it was kind of bright. Um, but when I held my phone up to take this, I dialed the exposure down a fair bit just to you know, make it a little more like nighttime. And actually, when I did the edit in darkroom, I used a gradient mask on the sky to darken it even more, and then another one on the foreground to darken down that snow because it was pretty much white looking, um, even at night with the night mode shot. So, but yeah, other than that, I think I might have added a vignette to darken around the
Okay.
outside
Yep.
edges and that just to, bring your eyes to the two planets there, which is the focal point of the image.
Hmm.
But yeah, it just I didn't really get a chance to get out and get a good shot of these two planets as they were going through their conjunction,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, they were so bright.
Oh, I know.
Um,
I know. I tried to get photos. The problem is it was they didn't get very high in the sky.
yeah, really,
And I got so much light pollution,
yeah,
especially that's headed west. And there's so much houses there and streetlights, which I'm not denying anyone the necessity for streetlight. I understand
mhm.
100% you need streetlights there
Oh yeah,
for safety, but it kind of kills the photography,
yeah, yeah, it sure does. Yeah,
unfortunately.
and yeah, and as you can see in this one, there's a lot of lights from the city, and that's throwing a lot of light up, towards them. And like you say, they're very low on the horizon. And but I kind of, I kind of like the way the clouds look too. I don't think I did anything to bring them out. I might have bumped the whites up a little bit just to enhance the clouds a little bit, but yeah, other than that, just a dull shot of the sky. So, all right. Well, that is our recent photos and our in-depth discussion on the Samsung Moon thing. So I guess that's it. Like I said, that other segment that we were going to do, we'll save that for the next time.
Yep.
And
I mean, unless something breaking happens,
yeah,
which
exactly.
hopefully nothing major will break. I mean, I know everyone really wanted us to talk about the yellow iPhone 14
Dude,
Max.
are you
I
reading my
know.
mind? Is it written on my forehead? I was going to ask you just before we go, what do you think of the yellow iPhones?
And I'm being completely honest here. I really wish they would bring the bright colors to the pros.
I know, I've heard that from a lot of people.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have the Sierra blue,
Hmm.
and it's like a steel blue, grayish blue. It looks nice. It's
Yeah,
understated. It's supposed to be, it has a nice tinge to it. And I know I could put a case on it. I mean, I do have a case. I have a clear case.
yeah,
But yeah, I could put a bright, shiny case on it and everything. But it would be nice to say, hey, guess what? Even though you got the Pro, you want to show off your color. So
yeah,
now it could be the difference between, well, the colored part is the same. It's the band that's different.
yeah,
Stainless steel versus aluminum versus for
yeah,
the 15 maybe titanium.
yeah, yeah.
So it would
But
be nice
yeah,
if it was a little bit lighter, but yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice to see the Pro phones have a little brighter
Color.
color to them.
Yeah.
I
But
don't know
Apple
why
doesn't
they
do that.
choose to subdue them.
It's the same thing, but it's the same thing with um the iPads. The Pros are always, you know,
Yeah, either space
may
gray or
space
silver
gray,
or
silver. You may get a rose gold,
yeah.
but it's not a
So
bright pink.
what do
Same
you
thing with
think
the
of the yellow?
computers.
What do you
I
think of the
like it.
yellow?
I
You
like it.
like it?
I
Yeah.
like it. Now the question is, because like I normally keep phones 3 to 4 years.
Hmm.
How do I think about it in 3.5 years? Same thing with cars. You may look at this car and think that is such a great color, orange,
Yeah,
and you may
yeah.
like that orange, and then in 6 years, you're going to be like, the car is orange.
Yeah, exactly.
What was I thinking?
Yeah. Well,
You
I
know,
like the
I
color.
like it. I
I like
like
the
it.
color. Would I get a yellow phone? Probably not. I'm
You
more
wouldn't
of
lose it.
I'm more of a blue, purple, gray,
Yeah.
those kind of colors. Um, if the if my 14 Pro, if I didn't get the purple one, I would have got the gray one. Um, the silver and the gold, they're just too light for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of like the darker colors better. But I would have loved to seen the pros come out. Even a subdued yellow would have been nice,
Yeah. Yeah. I
right?
mean, you could even make it so, like I said, make it subdued, but you can make them similar colors, including
Yeah.
red.
Oh yeah.
They could make
Oh,
a
a red one would
project,
have been really sharp.
but they could make it Project Red,
Yeah.
because that's what the red phone's always Project Red.
Hmm.
Make it Project Red,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
but
yeah, and the funny thing was is they did bring out that product red right
a
off the
project.
bat
I'm
this
sorry.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
they brought it out. They brought it out right
It
off the
was the very
bat
first. Yeah.
in the fall when they announced them, which I thought was odd because usually they
hmm
don't come out until like
Later
spring or
on. Yeah.
something.
So it's
But
the set with the boost, if you will, mid-year
yeah,
boost.
yeah. So, but I don't know. It, it's nice. I know there's
Yeah.
probably a bunch of people that'll get it, and
Oh, yeah.
of course when they marketed it, they didn't just say iPhone 14 and 14 Plus in yellow, but they put down all the stuff that it's capable of.
Oh,
Basically,
yeah.
just a reminder,
hmm
and I guess I hope it sells well because I know the 14 Plus was not a big seller at all, and
Which it
and I
makes
don't even know
sense.
about the
Honestly,
14, but
it makes sense because just playing between, let's say, Ruth's phone, she has the 13, not the Pro, just a regular 13.
Mhm.
But when I get my next phone, unless there is a difference, like with the 13, there was not a difference between the Pro and the Pro Max, except for size.
Right.
I probably just stick with the Pro, not go with Max,
Oh
because
yeah.
this thing can get very unwieldy. Now, it helps when I'm doing editing stuff on it, editing photo, editing
Yeah.
video. It helps having the extra size. But I run with this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gets a little heavy on the arm.
Yeah.
you know.
Yep. Well, my wife has the 12, not the 12 Pro or nothing, it's just the
Yeah.
12. And when I look at it compared to mine, I'm thinking there's no way I could go down that size.
Eh,
I'm just so used to the screen size of the Max,
right.
and I would have to just stay with it, I think. But I don't think I would go yellow, but I think it's pretty sharp.
hmm
It's definitely gonna I think it's definitely gonna be a favorite for some people, and
Oh yeah.
I hope it does well. But
Yeah.
it's just funny that we thought of it at the same time. Like I was just about to say, just before we go, Dave, what do you think of the yellow? So
At
anyway,
least
well,
it's something concrete and not rumors about the 15, which are
yeah.
peeking out now. So
Yeah, we'll look at those, maybe we'll touch on them on the next show with this other thing we were going to talk about. So,
yeah.
But on that note, I guess we'll tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay, yeah, you can find me pretty much on all social medias as Prof Pod, on TikTok, as long as we have it in the US, as Prof Pod PGH, and on the Facebook group as Dave Podner Jr.
Alrighty, you can find me at on Twitter, Instagram, Mastodon, all that stuff. Um, with my name, Greg McMillan, or McMillan Photo. Anyway, go to about.me, or what is it? About.me/McMillan. And you can find all my online links there. And I've been doing a bit of work on my website lately, McMillan.photos. So go have a look there and check it out, see what you think. I've got some pictures where I talk about the story behind the photo and things like that. And then there's just some categories and whatnot. So I know I got to add more pictures, but it's a work in progress. So give that a look too. Anyway, thanks, Dave, for the insightful discussion, and I guess we'll see everybody on the next one.
Yeah, have a great one, everyone.